Bart vs. the World. This game was a spin-off from the previous game, Bart vs. Space Mutants, which was also made by Feckley. From what I've heard, Bart vs. Space Mutants was the first game to ever be released for a home video game console. And while I believe it wasn't the first, it definitely wasn't the best. So what Feckley decided to do was release a sequel for this game, Bart vs. the World. The plot is simple. Bart draws a crappy picture of Krusty the Clown, and because of that, Krusty the Clown sends him to 4 different countries. With that, you have to collect merchandise that Krusty the Clown gives you. They are hidden in each level of the game. On the other note, Mr. Burns wants to get revenge on Bart for all the stuff that the Simpsons family has done to him. Is this a legit storyline? No. Mr. Burns can barely remember the Simpsons family, let alone Bart. Plus, Mr. Burns' family members happen to descend from the same exact countries that Bart is going to. That is a complete advantage for Mr. Burns. Because of that, he can kill Bart. Happy ending that you really want. Look, nothing has been improved. The controls are the same, Bart looks the same, he still doesn't have the black outline. And jump and run are still the same. There's certain objects hidden in each level, courtesy of Krusty the Clown. And guess who has to find them? You! You have to go around every level and pick them up. Usually they're by a Simpsons character. And if you don't get them, you do not get the happy ending at the end. Nor can you not do the level either. Talk about a radical change in Level 2. Level 2 is the bomb. You go around the Great Wall of China and skateboard. I assume Bart's always wanted to do that. However, the object that Krusty the Clown hides is not very obvious there. You have to get it by getting contact with Lisa, and then finding it on top of the wall, at the very end of the level. Compared to Bart vs. Space Mutants, have the levels been improved? Yeah. But are the levels better? No. While the levels are better than Bart vs. Space Mutants, the levels are extremely repetitive and hard. This level right here is very boring, and it's the first level. All you really do is collect objects. I mean, they're good for the game, but it's boring. You want to know what's so good about them? Simply the points. I never understood that about games. Why do you have to collect points? Why do they exist? It should be about getting past the level. In the ice level, you'll encounter these platforms, and you have to land on them perfectly, otherwise you'll fall to the ground. And that's not only the hard part of the level, there's more to come. In level 2, your accuracy has to be perfect in order to get into the holes, otherwise you'll bounce and hit the dragons, which they hurt you. Look how much I'm struggling on this level. And it's the very beginning. You know, it's just like in Bart vs. Space Mutants. How does he hit the dragon? The dragon is in front of him. Jump to level 3. Those platforms that go up are not easy to land on. Heck, they're hard. The key to that is not to be like I am in this video right now. You're gonna fall to the ground. Just remember, because of the crappy controls, doesn't mean you cannot memorize how they work. You can still master them perfectly fine. I better not die. I feel confident. You haven't seen the worst yet. This is almost one of the worst parts of the entire game. If anything, it's the second worst. But still, I've had over 9 lives at this part, and then I lost every single one of them. the water. Bam, dead. This is the first stage of Egypt. Now this isn't the worst part of the entire game, but it's pretty bad. Those little blocks are hard to jump on. And you're thinking that if this is impossible, you cannot complete the game. That's why you gotta work at it in order to get past this part. You're supposed to get on that big block, and that takes you to a cliff that you can finally jump over. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And you have to be perfect. Aw, man, I wasn't prepared for that. Alright, seriously, they went too far with this level. Look at the layout. Ah, crap. Now this is the first sound stage of Hollywood. And the thing is, you can easily fall off this rope. And when you do, you can't break your fall by climbing back on it while you're still falling. You have to fall to the ground in order to be able to climb up it. Why did they do that? Definitely to make the game harder than it already is. Now this isn't too bad. There's definitely worse. Alright, let's move on to the mini-games. You have this, I don't know what you want to call it, the move the slide thing, and I have trouble with it. I hate it. And then you got the memory match. I guess that's alright. Although I'm not getting anything. Oh, good. And then you have the shuffle the shells, which I pretty much call the shell game. Ah, crap. Ooh, slot machine. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Alright. Ooh, a match. They're all boys. Alright, here you have 3 coffins laying here, and you gotta get the 2 bats. Now, it's not like the shell game, where you know which one it is. Here, it's just plain luck. If you manage to get the bat the first time, you have to go through one of the 2 coffins and find the second bat. And then after that, it's a guaranteed win. But however, the chances of you getting the bats are low. And I'm not getting anything right now. Come on, yes. Okay, come on, second, yes. Third, yes. Success. Oh, yay, crusty hands. I think those give you free guys, I'm not sure. Now dodge the beer and get the crusty heads. I think this is pretty fun. And there's the Simpsons trivia, the best game here. But the problem is, it's only the first and second seasons that they go over. So if you're my age, you're not gonna know them. The graphics need major improvement. Here's some things they should have did. First, they should have gave Bart an outline to make him look more real. And maybe for the background, add a little sun. And they should have shown how many lives Bart had. Another thing is they should have added a better background instead of just blue. There you go. And maybe a little more detail in Bart, but that's a little more Sega Genesis-y. Now, assuming this is Sega Genesis, put a better background. Now, that's a better version of the game. Even just the detail Bart's outline is good. Here's how the plot should have been. One day when Bart was minding his own business, doing his homework, the world falls in love with this girl. The girl that Bart is dating. Because Bart had his permit, money, and a nice red car, the girl stayed with Bart and rejected the world. The world wants revenge. Here's what the gameplay should have looked like. Stage 1, and the very last stage. You verse the world in a combat.